Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode. Very blessed to have a beautiful sister, Patricia, with me today. We met doing the Miraculous book with Abigail,
Yes,
wasn't it? Yeah,
yes. Mm.
that was that was 3 years ago or something like that, I think.
Something like that. Yeah. Several years ago, at least.
A lot of moments from that time. It just really
Mhm.
happened. That's I do find it a little bit difficult to put into that linear time of how long things are. It's just like, yeah, a lot of things has happened during that period.
Mhm. A lot of
Yeah.
a lot of great connections during that whole creative process with Miraculous, though, with Abigail. So definitely.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was really beautiful, and to see us all on our journey and coming through and sharing quite personal journeys in that book as well.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
for some it was first time, and some, that showing that personal aspect can be a little bit daunting, and like, I'm showing all of myself and anyone can read it, and how's that going to be? How was that for you?
As you're saying that, I'm like, oh, that was me. Yeah, that was like my first time really putting myself out there like in that way in a book, and um it was it changed my life. I'll say that it really allowed me to step into what I came here to do, into the work that I really wanted to do and want to do.
And
So
in what way? Like, because I know you've now got 7 best-selling books you've been in now, I think.
oh, collaborative books, yes.
Collaborative book, yeah.
Yes, I've yet to publish my own, but hopefully that will come someday. But, what it allowed me to do was it kind of broke the ice. It's like this is me. I've got this side of me, this very much more metaphysical or spiritual aspect than I had ever allowed people to see out of these sort of very closed, hidden kind of containers I would hold. And I was like, well, yeah, here I am. I speak light language. I've been doing that for a really long time. And, you know, I had done, plant medicine ceremonies, and I had never talked about that, that stage in my life. So yeah, it gave me freedom to express myself, right? Because I wasn't hiding parts of myself anymore. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I think that's a great message for many of us. What that does, because what I feel a lot of us believe, oh, I don't really have anything to share, or, there's 20 other people have done the same thing, so, there's not a place for my story in there. But, we all come with our own unique gifts, and our whole relation to this life, along with everything that's come from every life that we've experienced. So you have a very unique way of expressing anything, even no matter how many people have shared the same thing.
Exactly. Exactly. The way that I transmit messages in code through light language is totally different from the person, if there's a lot of people who speak light language, now openly, and it's like, yeah, we need all of it. We need everybody's voice. I'm a big proponent for using, your voice to create beauty and harmony, on the earth. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's our creative place, isn't it? And we've had such a journey of around expressing ourselves, or not being heard, or being told off when we are expressing ourselves and all that. So it holds a lot, and I feel even with the book writing, that's a creative expression. It's still our voice. It's just not spoken, but it is us,
Right.
our expression.
Mhm. Just like your photography, because you capture it in a certain way, right? And painting, artists, I paint as well, and I create digital art. So all of those are, yeah, an expression. And nobody's going to do it the way that you do it. So we need everybody. We need everybody's art and expressions. in my opinion.
Yes, yeah, I feel so as well. We do, and because we're all here for a very high purpose, and it's a very special time and evolution, and Mother Gaia really cares for us and needs us to step up as well and share our gifts and care for each other.
Yeah. Hmm. Yes,
Because
we're
you
here
also
for,
have a very strong connection with Gaia as well, don't you?
I I do. I always I should say, since I was a child, and I didn't really understand that, except like in the last 10 years or so, when I started to have more of a conscious awareness of it. Before, it was just like I just love I just love being in the mountains, and anywhere where it's just wild and free. And now it's been more of a conversation with Gaia, through my heart, and the intentions of the things that I want to create or express in the world, like having that conversation through my heart with her before I create them. Does that make sense? It's like I want to be in harmony with her, whereas before I might have just gone through my life doing, whatever, experimenting. And now I'm like, I don't have enough energy to keep experiencing it. What I create now, I want it to be in alignment and be, beneficial for the collective. And that might sound lofty, but at least it's an ideal to hold, right? Like what I create will be of benefit in some larger way besides just, for my own enjoyment.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy it. So I think that's beneficial too, right? Because if I'm happy,
Yeah.
but you know what
Yes.
I mean. You know what I
Yes,
mean.
totally. So you're not like sacrificing yourself in any way or anything. You're doing something very selfless, but you're a part of that, and you're also aligning with it, and it speaks to you on some level as well as being of
Yeah,
service for the collective and the planet.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I love to do this. I love to paint, or I love to create, art or write. And so it's like, well, how can I do that and also carry forward some, message of inspiration for others, that kind of alignment. Yeah.
So it's like multi-layered.
Hmm. I love multi-layered stuff. For sure.
Which we are, aren't we? And there's, you go beneath something and then you can go a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper and explore and deeper and find more and
Mhm.
more and more. And oh, wow, look what's here.
That's right. I know, because, you know, I think even when I did the book Miraculous, it was Abigail who got me to start speaking like language publicly. And well, not, in online, right? That was the thing to do then. And before, people might look at me and think, oh, she's really quiet. And then they see, oh, there's a deeper layer to her, right? And so and then so that's how, once we all start sharing those deeper layers, that's when the magic really starts to happen, right? I believe.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It's kind of like we've got an aspect of ourselves out of the way to really show our true self and our true expression. And when that comes through, people really feel it because it's
Yeah,
like, ah, here you are,
authentic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what you
I
say.
mean, like light language. I didn't know we were going to talk about light language, but I think it is part of what I do is, channel messages that I receive, being in nature, in communication with Gaia. But it is a heart language, right? Because it bypasses the mind trying to understand it. And so you just feel it from one
Feel it.
another. You just feel it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, totally. I totally resonate with that. So when you bring through the light language, do you always know what it is you're bringing through or the purpose of it, or you just in full surrender and allowance of whatever needs to come through and know it is beneficial?
I think early on it was very experimental, and it always had good intention, but I didn't I would say that it wasn't condensed yet, so there might have been a little noise, some noise and things in it. And now I have found that when I do set the sacred space for it, it's much clearer and succinct and more direct and more beneficial in that sense. Before it was, but it's just like as you practice any skill or modality, you just find refinement to it. And so
Yes.
I enjoy setting the sacred space and the intention and seeing what comes through, although I can never predict exactly what it will be. That's not how it
Yes.
works with me. So
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think even, when we're speaking, sometimes we go to say something and actually something else comes through.
Right.
And you're like, oh, hello, where'd that come from? Okay. So I was meant to say that.
I think that's also why I love conversations like that, that we're having here, because you just don't know, what the magic is wanting to come through if you plan it, completely plan it too much. So I love that how you hold this space and allow that to happen.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the same. That's part of the podcast for me is just to just kind of surrender, and I have an intention and I set a field, but within that it's totally open. It's just like, let's see, and some people do come with a topic, and I think that's really awesome as well because we go in depth in a certain thing. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, other than that, we're just in the energies, and like you say, we didn't know we were going to talk about this. We said a couple of things, so maybe we'll talk about this, and then it just
And
unfolds and unravels itself, and it's always
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. I feel like it's sort of a dance between your intention and then letting the magic flow around that, or emerge from it. How's that? Emerge from that. And
Yes.
there was something that you said about, oh, it's you know what? I'm just going to tell you what I keep seeing, and I don't know what this has to do with what we're talking about, but you had posted a picture recently about some boulders on a
Hmm.
beach, and they looked like you could crack them open, and then there was just more and more layers to them inside. Were those like like iron? Like what were those boulders?
Well,
Do you
they
remember?
said they're about 65 million years old, and they're made of like mud and silica and things, and then there's a lot of citrine inside them, and that, yeah. Um,
Okay, so when this is in alignment with our conversation, because that was a message to me. Like there was something about seeing those layers and the ancient wisdom in that folder that I'm still receiving from that picture. I'm so fascinated by it.
oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's so beautiful. And thank you for sharing that because, I just felt I was going past and I was like, I stopped on the way down and then I was just like, do I stop? Yeah, you need to stop. Okay. And actually, when I walked to the beach and that one that I took that's opened, I was like, I don't remember this being like this when I was here like a month or couple of months ago.
Uh,
Like, yeah, I was really fascinated. I was like, I don't remember one being open. And I was just pulled in, like you said, you just see that ancient wisdom. And yeah,
like I
it's
gotta
so
capture
vast. It's just, yeah, you can't put words to it. I was just like,
that.
oh my goodness, like the energy that's coming from this interior of this boulder, and also what fascinated me, that boulder had a rock formation around the outside that followed
Mhm.
the roundness of the boulder. Like it
Yeah,
had another layer to it on the outside
yeah,
as well. I was like, wow, like how does that even happen? And what's that about? Yeah.
yeah. The beauty and the mystery of the earth, right? And this that's what really keeps me connected to Gaia. That awe, keeps me in my heart and connected to her beauty, like those sorts of things. And So I'm really a fan of photography when people are able to capture things like that. They really inspire me. Just, I don't even know how to explain it. It just makes my body like happy. It's like,
That's cool. That came up in a soul evolution astrology reading for me. It was the Amber, she was like, and then you learnt nature makes you happy.
nature, she
And I'm
happy. It
like,
does.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And also I find when we have that relationship, when we go into nature, nature's also happy that you're there.
Yeah, it's reciprocal. That's true.
Yeah.
Because we're
So
part of it. So yeah.
you're just reflecting, and then you're in the beautiful conversation with each other and communing with each other, and it's just, yeah, I love it. It's so magical. And then this bigger, wider area we're in, and all of a sudden I find myself, I just get more and more focused and smaller and smaller and smaller, and just come into a blade of grass or a little flower petal or
Mhm.
something, and it's just like, wow, the depth of that.
And I that is a good practice for me too, when I get out of my heart and into my head, and start worrying about the minutia of red tape in life. And it's like, oh, but then I see a picture like that, or the blade of grass, or whatever it is, a beautiful spider web, and you're walking outside, and it's like, oh, that's why I'm here, to enjoy that. All that other stuff, I'm just that's just all stuff that we made up and created complexity. This is it. This simple beauty. And I
Mm.
think that's the heart of that's the heart of where I want to be in my life, in that beauty, in that state of awe. I mean, if I could stay in that all day long, I would. but
Yeah, and I'm sure
I
you'd
get
still
so
get the
wet,
dishes done as well.
right? Oh, look at the water droplet. No, no. No, but that's kind of, I think, why I do the light language and the art, and because it takes me back into that state of awe, which connects me, to the earth. And it it really rejuvenates me, you know. It 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 brings life back into me, especially when things are stressful, or I've created complexity in my life. And yeah.
I feel we can all relate to that. All those,
Yeah.
creating complexity, the beauty of connecting with nature, like I feel just so many things drop away when you go into nature, and you become very present. And what I find it shows me is it's just like the more present I can be with whatever I'm doing in my life, the easier it is, the lighter it is, and
Yeah.
so I feel nature's just a beautiful reminder of that. And we can bring that into our complexities of life, and
We
and then
can.
we're not so, oh, I need to do this and I'm pulled that way, and oh, I don't want to, and oh my goodness, how do I cope with this? And
Exactly. No, I mean, I work in front of, computer a lot of the time, doing a lot of data work, and I have all my crystals in front of me just to remind me, what's what I really am here for. And yes, I do that other headspace, stuff, but ultimately I'm here to fully enjoy being in my body on earth, right? I came here to learn how to do that. That's what I discovered when I wrote, the books. Like, I started to talk about my journey, and it was all about embodiment, fully coming fully down into my body and out of my head, so that I could actually experience being fully alive, some people might say, oh, that's like an ecstatic being, right? You're fully engaged with your senses, with nature, and you just kind of become one with it. I mean, someday maybe you might find me sitting up on a mountaintop completely absorbed into the whole. It might take a while, but that's moments of that. I think it's like bliss, right? The bliss moments of being connected to the heart of Gaia, which is all of her life, all the life on her planet, and even, the crystals and the rocks and all the elements. And I'm actually going to be writing another collaborative book, some poetry, which is called, I don't know exactly what the title is going to be yet from the publisher, but it's about a sensuality, like erotic sensuality of like being in nature. And so that's kind of my next way of expressing myself is through poetry and talking about these kinds of ways where we're in an ecstatic state in nature. And that's
Beautiful.
something I never would have said 5 years ago. I'd have been like, what? Erotic sensuality in nature, what? So
Yeah, that's the beauty of you just opening up to yourself, isn't it? And
yeah.
saying yes to your journey and what's really true for you. And yeah, I love that. So thank you. Do you feel with your poetry, is it an expression of you that's relating to nature? And or is it nature expressing itself to you?
Ooh, I think it's a dance between the two.
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's a conversation. I mean, I did do some poetry recently, which was about conversations with Gaia. And so something would come through me, whether, and then I would receive a message back from her. And so there is like, for me, there is a conversation that I like to go back and forth like that. So yeah, it's a mixture.
And do you find as when you're having a conversation, is it like you inquire, like you ask a question and something it gets comes back to you, and then you respond to that, and then something comes back again?
So yeah, the book was called Poems from the Heart, and by Rada Publishing and House. And the way that it was for me was something would come up from my heart, like something that was heavy in my heart, or in this case, there was a lot of heaviness that was wanting to be released. And so it was like I would sit there and I would just express how I felt to Gaia, like like one of them was about forgiveness, so it was just like just these deep emotional feelings, and then her energy would hold it and reflect something back to me that was healing. And so in hopes that in the collective somebody else maybe would resonate with that heaviness of wanting to have forgiveness for things that have happened in their lives, in my life, where I wasn't conscious of what I was doing to the earth, and then having her feeling how she felt about that being reflected to me, like it was loving and compassionate, and it wasn't like I was being going to be punished or damned for being human. So it's a very human conversation with her. And it is kind of an inquiry too, like right? It's like I'm sharing my deepest feelings with you. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about me?
Yeah.
Showing you all of me, my messiness, my messy human.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I love how you say that, just having like a human conversation and her knowing that we are human, we're not actually meaning to be hurtful or harmful or anything, and we're just disconnected and we're caught up in our mind and going about things in the best way we can, but not really being conscious of it all. And then yeah, to have a realization of that and shift that and then be able to come to this place and yeah, do that with her is it's very special. So yeah, really grateful for you that you know, you've chosen this journey and you have that connection now, and you can share that with others and be there for Mother Gaia, because yeah, she really needs us, I feel.
Yeah, to listen to her, right? Listen to her. It's like that's what I was not doing. I wasn't listening before. I was listening to the collective, the static out there. So dropping into my body allows me to listen, allows me to listen. Mhm.
Yeah, the intelligence of the body. I feel when you don't have that realization, you know, it is constant. You're in the head trying to figure everything out, and the mind just can't comprehend so much of who we truly are. It's just impossible for it to, because it's not functioning that way, you know.
Mhm. It's true.
So do you work with people, helping them in that way to, you know, to drop into their hearts, get out of their minds and feel and listen?
My intention is that the work that I'm doing with people is doing that for them. I feel like it is. It's really about sitting with yourself, right? Sitting with all of you and becoming aware and being, holding yourself compassionately in your own heart and healing that relationship with yourself first. And so that way, then it kind of overflows the capacity to hold compassion um, in your relationships with others, and also to become, empathetic and sympathetic, even, with the earth, right? It's like that beautiful land over there is alive, and it has, it feels, it senses, and just like I can communicate with it in a deeper way than I had before, where it was just like, oh, that's pretty. But it's like, no, that place is alive. And I want to be in communion and connection with it and respect it and honor it in whatever way, that is for me in the moment. But yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but that's where it took me.
Yeah, that's cool. So,
It came from the heart.
yeah. Well, the heart for me as well, it's the center of our being, you know, it's really, for me, it's the more I can be in the heart, the easier life is, and the more, again, present and listening, you know, I like to self-inquire. And for me, self-inquire also is about that communion with the planet and the environment and the beings around, and you know,
Mhm.
and having an awareness when I feel to look down that there's something on the ground that's actually saying, "Hey, I've got a message for you," you know.
Right? Yeah. And it's a moment to moment, intention, right? Because there's constantly things to distract you from, your and being in your heart, or being in, even being embodied. And so as you asked, the work that I do with people is it I call it Voices of Gaia. And that means that we all have a voice, right? That for Gaia. And it's New Earth leadership. So it's a way that we lead our lives, where we tune in to our heart and connect to Gaia, in whatever way that nurtures us. And so that when we speak, when we create, everything has come through her wisdom and back out into the earth, into the world, and shares nourishment, enrichment, beauty, rather than negativity, or density, or things when they're not processed completely, they kind of come out sideways. And so it is about learning to live your life, in beauty, the
Mm,
natural beauty.
yeah, yeah, and because we're so involved in consuming, I find,
Mhm.
you know, and
Yes.
and we're lost within that, you know, just the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And
Next thing.
we've never found a place where we feel full. Whereas when we're connected, you know, with the planet and ourselves and in our heart, yeah, we're more, we're not looking for so much outside of ourselves, you know, and the
Right.
next thing and the next thing.
Yeah, you can hold it and just let it completely, infuse you for a longer period of time, right? So yeah, it's wonderful. I like to go and have, you know, interesting experiences in life, and I probably always, will, but it's like totally indulging in the moment in it, and then it fills you up, and so like you said, you're not like jumping from one thing to another and never really getting replenished. Instead, you just get depleted, and that's part of the work I do also is bringing your energy back into you. And so that rather than, and I had to learn this from myself, rather than going out and seeking and always using energy up, you just become this beautiful magnetic field, just like Gaia, right? And then you call what is meant to be with you to you, and then it's in alignment, versus the other way when it's kind of like desperately seeking whatever it is. So it's a new way of life, right? That's why it's the new earth leadership. And it doesn't mean you have to be a leader up on podium somewhere, or a large organization. It's just you leading your life from that place of communion, within yourself and with earth and with the divine, and that.
Mm,
Yeah.
lovely. Yeah. And do you find with working with people, because we're all unique, of course, you know, we all come with our own codex and way of relating, and you know, there's things that resonate and things that don't. So with working with your clients, do you find there's some similarities on connecting with themselves and communing with Gaia, or is it really, really individual?
I would say that it's very individual, but there is, similarities, in I can't say that word right now.
Generalized?
There are some general shared ways that, that people do connect, right? I mean, the one that we all know is when you drop in through breath, right? You drop in through breath work, right? That's pretty, I think, general. If you can get people to do the breathing and connecting to their own heart, they can eventually connect to the rhythms of the earth. Body movement, right? Those, I teach Kundalini yoga, and so that movement of the body can also bring you in to that stage of connection. But the part that's different is usually, well, there's differences in the way you move your body, but is the expression. So I tend to work with people who are very creative. I have found that, and they're creatives, or they love to, or they're seeking to be more creative because they haven't quite tapped into that. And so it's about the voice, right? I tend to work with people who want to express themselves and maybe have felt blocked, or they just want to refine it. So those are kind of so they may do it differently, right? There's painters, um, people who write books or who are mentors themselves, and things like that, teachers. I'm trying to think of some other people, but anyhow, yeah, I think you get the point. What I'm saying. The
Yes.
expression is where the uniqueness comes through,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the
So there's
connection.
kind of a common foundation, I guess, with, like you say, the breath. You know, a lot of us have forgotten to breathe, even, you know, and even have any awareness of how important the breath is. Just to breathe deep into your body helps you to be in your body, to feel into your body, and then when you have that relationship, then other things can be explored and experienced.
And experience. Yeah, because even when having this conversation with you, I might start thinking, well, I need to say something specific. And then I have to remember, no, just breathe, drop into the body, and then I'll know it'll just come out what I need to say, right? Where the old way was trying to the old things of trying to memorize things or have a plan. And so it's, yeah, like your wisdom comes when you breathe deeply into your body and reconnect. So Yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically.
Yeah, beautiful. I have sayings that come along, and I ride with them for a while, and I had one many years ago. I don't remember where it came from. I guess I heard it from someone, and it was if you want to hear God laugh, make a plan.
I love that.
And I was like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah. And actually one of my teachers for a while, Kyle Cease, I don't know whether you've ever heard of him, but he's a Canadian comedian, and then became a
Okay.
transformational coach. And at the peak of his career, I didn't know him as a comedian, but yeah, he used to say, "I hope I f this up." Was one of his workshops. And he would say, I just come with no plan. Like I have no idea what I'm saying. I don't look any particular way, and that because it's all limiting, and just show up. It's the most
Yeah.
profound way of working with people and himself, and what wants to come through and how to express. And yeah, he was really amazing for my journey. So I followed him for a while, and
Mm,
I think it's beautiful.
that's
And for myself, I know that, with my astrology chart, what I do know of astrology in my chart, which I'm definitely don't know a lot. But yeah, it's really about that surrender, you know, that fully nameless, formless, just surrender to allowing that to be expressed through you. And when I do that, the magic is incredible. When I'm just an
yeah,
allowance of that. It's incredible what happened.
it's delightful, right? It's like it's magical, delightful.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
human side's always like figuring it out, and we need to know, and that's our
you get
intelligence.
tighter
And
and tighter.
yeah, yes,
Yeah, no, that's I think that that's the way of the new earth, right? I mean, I don't know what your sense is of the new earth consciousness, but it is about living in that state of more of a bliss consciousness, right? Being surprised and delighted by the experience of, being embodied as humans rather
yes.
than all the strife and that we create a lot of, which I'm guilty of. I've created a lot of complexity, as I've said in my life. But I know, so when you said that about the astrology, one thing I know about mine is that I have both my sun and my moon are in Venus. And so I know that like that's part of that. This is like bringing the Venus um in union or communion with Earth, so bringing down the energy of Venus to Earth, which is about bringing the beauty, like bringing, not like it's not the beauty that we have in the collective consciousness, right? It's just that natural beauty essence of being alive, the beauty way, right? That's
Yeah,
and
the
that
real beauty.
yeah, that the one that you just feel, that lights your body up. So
Yeah.
yeah, but you have to surrender, like you said, you have to surrender your agendas first. So I'm a stubborn one, so it's taking me a long time to get to that, but
Well,
you
I
know,
feel for all of us. I feel it's been quite a journey, and it is a journey. It's just constant, it's just an unraveling, and you get to a place, and you go, wow, this is it, this is amazing, and I'm doing this and all that. And if you stay open, I feel that will soon leave, there may be aspects of it that just come through. However, it's just constant. And I did a post a while ago about people who feel about a destination, and I was saying, so if you are, really needing a destination, then just make the present moment your destination,
mm-hmm. That's so good.
because there isn't a destination. We're on a journey. But if you're very present, then you could just say, well, this present moment, this is my destination. I'm here because I don't have to be anywhere else. I'm not trying to get anywhere or do anything different. I'm just here. So I'm actually have arrived. And within that moment, you are there. There isn't anywhere else you need to go. So even within the journey, you have a destination as well, and I find that quite beautiful and
That
helpful.
is, that is the beauty way. It's being in a full experience of the moment. You nailed it right there.
And I like how
Yeah.
you use experience, because I also resonate with that, because we can talk about negative and positive and all these other things. And for me, energy is just energy, and it has aspects to it, and it has expressions. And yeah,
Mhm.
however, if we just call it an experience, then yeah, it's just what is. And it's what could look bad can be good, and what could look good can turn out bad. So if we just allow it to be whatever it is, then I feel we have more of an experience. We go deeper, and we have a different relationship with it, and we learn more from it as well, instead of, because we have these idealistic beliefs already connected with the way we use certain words as well, like good and bad, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you said that, because that makes me even clarify, you know, about beauty and art and those sorts of things. Is like there is a place for all of that, for all of the frequencies, if you want to call them. So, you know, that's why I love art, right? Because it can be heavier and denser and powerfully transformational in the beauty of what it is. So I love that you clarified that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
It doesn't have to all be fluffy and light, and
But
it's like, no,
know,
no, the beauty is actually that really rich stuff that comes, yeah, out of the womb of the mother. Usually the dark liquid oil. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, because that's where we came from, wasn't it? We were in that dark place, and we birthed out into the light. But we still have the dark with us, the shadow. People talk about being in a dark room, flicking on a light, and I'm in the light. It's like, well, you are in the light, but you've got a shadow.
Don't forget that, because
Yeah.
that's what yeah, that's what keeps you on the path, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like what you're sharing as well, it's part of the experience of being on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
We've come here to feel and to experience emotions, and they're not good or bad, they're just different from each other, and they present different things. And I had a Qigong teacher, and he said to me, "Do you love pain or hate pain?" And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. I know I don't hate it, but I'm not sure that I'd say I love it. But I get what you mean, because pain itself is the body just saying, hey, pay attention. There's something going on, which is a really beautiful thing."
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I think you could write like well, people do write a lot of poetry about pain, right?
Hmm.
Beautiful, different physical, mental, emotional, spiritual pain. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Wow. You're inspiring.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty. We just share, isn't it? And we do inspire each other, and we go, and you even share the same thing, but it has a different perspective, as we talked about at the start. It's just like, oh wow, yeah, okay, now I can see it from that place, or a little,
From this,
oh yeah.
yeah, that's the beauty, I guess, of sitting with something for a long time and not jumping to another experience, is like fully getting the full transmission from whatever it is that you have decided to sit with, in the moment. Um, it's just a practice, isn't it?
It is, yes, it is. It is. And it is important, like you said before, that it's not all rainbows and unicorns, when it's important to know that. And actually, at the start of your journey, it actually gets harder for a while. And at different moments it gets very messy and chaotic and things. But that's the beauty of it. You just travel with that and journey in, and if you have people around you to support, that you can reach out, because for a lot of people they may not have they may have difficulty asking for help, but the help's always there. It's always around us, and it could be a leaf or a tree, or it could be a person, or it could be someone that you just heard a conversation with someone else at the supermarket, and you just heard a few words, and it's like, if we really listen, so yeah,
That's so true. It's so true.
it's
Yeah.
just lovely and I always find with the emotions, I see them as a gateway to the soul.
Hmm.
So when we
Yeah.
go into them, then yeah, the trueness of us gets to show up and support us as well.
That's so, I think that's one of the beautiful things about art and writing, right? Is that you can channel that energy, those emotions into a physical or 3D form, and in that whole process of creativity, which is something that I really value for myself and for others, it like alchemizes or transmutes it in that process of being creative, right? So it might be the image that might come out might be, unicorns and rainbows, or it might be, something that's a little bit scary, but you might think, in the collective mind might be like us, but there it's still processed the emotions for you. Like it's brought meaning and closure around it.
Yes. Yeah. And like you say, writing as well, or
Mhm.
speaking it shifts the energy, because it's been expressed, and I feel that's what we also do with light language. For me,
Mhm.
I know go to places and something's sitting in the land and it needs to be lifted out. So you just express, and that can feel, I've had moments when my throat's sore, because of how I've had to voice it.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's okay, because it's just part of releasing those things, and then allowing the planet to be how it was meant to be.
Yeah, it's acknowledging it, right? That's that's a lot of healing is I see you, right? Here you are, I see you. And I think in that's a lot of where the healing, being accepted just
Mm,
as you
yeah.
are.
Mm. Wow, beautiful. So is there something you would like to share with the audience before we end, or is there some light language you feel could come through, or yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot, but yeah, I'll just drop
See, I
that in there.
don't. Well, you know, hmm, let me just tune in and see if there's some light language that wants to come through. Maashila iniheka cho arahlarini aitu shayana halikalu untai shehuma anea shelo utai nikala ushana mahiki tiaro urundahat te oshalari ni haliyukusht mai nihli tarumba koyale nihashalu tianiki. So it's just a little heart message.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. It's been very delightful speaking with you today.
Yeah, thank you as well. I've really enjoyed it, and I love how, yeah, we haven't had really contact for 3 years or however it is, and we can just come into the space and share. And I feel that's a reflection of where we are on our journey and how we feel within ourselves, and what's possible for anyone.
Right. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Definitely
Yeah,
is.
because then we just see each other for who we truly are.
Yep, I love that. It's easier that way, doesn't
It
it?
is, yeah, because there's not all those, awkwardness and things, and I have to act this way and say it correctly, and
Yeah, I feel like I've known you for a long time, so there you go.
Yeah, it's that. Well, we would have known each other for a long time. We do. Like everyone, I
Energetic,
feel that, yeah,
yeah. We've been communicating in the field for a long, long time. So
yes, yeah.
mm.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Been really wonderful to have you on the show, and yeah, go well, and we'll keep riding our journeys and connecting in the other areas of ways of being along the path, and yeah, come together when called in the physical.
Mhm. Yep. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Hope you're well, and we'll see you next time. Much love.
Mm.